My friends, while the United States celebrates Memorial Day, the world is faced with an image that defies logic. Meanwhile, diplomats in air-conditioned rooms are adjusting the commas of a historic peace agreement. On the other side, the twisted metal of the orbiter spy drone falls into the waters of Bandar Abbas. The Tehran regime projects an image of peace to buy time, while its teeth remain sunk into the throat of global trade. Because Iran's air defense commander has just confirmed the downing of an Israeli reconnaissance drone over Hormuz province. The incident occurs exactly as Trump announces on his social network a 14-point memorandum for a 60-day ceasefire that was practically finalized. The downing of the drone in Iranian territorial waters, recovered by the Maritime Border Police, calls into question the viability of any diplomatic agreement in the coming days. And to understand this clash, you need to understand the nature of the Revolutionary Guard. They operate as a parallel state. While the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Tehran talks about resolving issues under discussion, the Revolutionary Guard fires missiles. They have their own Navy, Air Force, and intelligence services, which do not answer to formal diplomacy. The downing of the orbiter is a demonstration of intellectual strength. The Guard is saying that even with the agreement, they hold the key to the Strait of Hormuz. The downing of the Israeli drone in Hormuz happened during the ceasefire negotiations. This means that Iran maintains a two-faced strategy, where diplomacy is used only to ease sanctions, while military aggression serves to maintain physical control over the Strait of Hormuz. The risk of a ceasefire that doesn't hold is the collapse of market confidence, keeping the price of oil at wartime levels. And what happens in Bandar Abbas directly affects the gas station in São Paulo or in Rome. If Iran signals that the waterway remains a kill zone, the cost of global maritime freight stays prohibitive. And the world watches to see if Trump will be able to force Iran into the Abraham Accords, or if the mirage of peace will evaporate before sunset. Comment here, I'll read your thoughts. The president is ready to give in under the pressure from the aircraft carriers, right? But there's a piece of American technology that changed the cost of that hesitation. The United States' answer to Iran's shadow war goes by the name Lucas. It's a low-cost unmanned attack system produced by Spectre Works in Arizona. Each unit costs approximately $35,000, which is less than the price of a mid-sized pickup truck in the American market. Lucas was designed to be a one-way attack munition, operating in coordinated swarms to overwhelm enemy defenses through volume and artificial intelligence. The engineering behind Lucas is a lesson in military irony. American engineers took the concept of the Iranian Shahed 136 captured units on the battlefield, stripped out their insides, and rebuilt them with cutting-edge United States technology. The system now uses Shield A's HiveMind software. This means that the drones are no longer individually guided by an operator. They form an aerial neural network that shares target data and adapts the attack route in real time to avoid radars. The United States can now launch hundreds of units simultaneously for a fraction of the cost of a single Iranian defense missile. The cost to shoot down Lucas is RM times higher than the cost to manufacture it. It's the spell turning against the sorcerer. This reverses the logic of symmetrical warfare. Now it's the sheriff who floods the battlefield with cheap disposable technology, making any static defense from Iran obsolete and financially unsustainable. This technology is being closely watched by Taiwan and the Philippines. If Lucas's swarm manages to neutralize the radars in Hormuz, the model will be replicated in the Pacific to contain the Chinese fleet. War is no longer about who has the most expensive plane. It's about who can produce lethal intelligence on an industrial scale. Lucas is the hammer that strikes on the surface, but the real surveillance happens where the regime's eyes can't reach. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and like the video. It takes a lot of work to make it. Iran claims it used a specialized system, possibly the Majid, to detect and shoot down the Israeli orbiter. That Israeli drone that Iran said it shot down? The Majid is a domestically produced short-range air defense system that Tehran claims is capable of tracking drones with a low radar signature. However, Iran's shoot-down record is marked by lost link incidents. When the drone loses satellite connection, crashes from a technical failure, and is later presented as. However, he doesn't agree. The reality of drone warfare involves the constant risk of signal loss. In areas of intense jamming and signal dimming in places like the Strait of Hormuz, drones such as the Orbiter or the RQ-170 may enter emergency mode. If the navigation system fails, the drone crashes. Iran has become adept at monitoring these failures, rushing to recover wreckage from the water and promoting a story of technological superiority, though this often doesn't reflect reality. Creating a narrative of technological superiority that often does not match the actual capability of their Majid radars in detecting high-performance targets. And what happens is a propaganda game where technical failures of unmanned systems are used to boost the morale of the Revolutionary Guard. However, the persistent surveillance of models like the RQ-4 and the Orbiter continues to map every inch of Bandar Abbas. If Iran really had control of the airspace, there would be no need to negotiate a ceasefire in the sights of two American carrier groups. This war of radars and invisible drones defines who controls the export routes. While Iran tries to prove it can blind the West, the United States and Israel maintain a constant ISR presence, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. The goal is not just to watch the bunkers, but to detect the movement of the Mosquito fleet that threatens the oil tankers. Aerial surveillance is only half the story. The real danger for the regime is hidden below the waterline, and you know it. The Strait of Hormuz is a geographic choke point where the depth and currents make it easier to use naval mines. Iran uses these mines to push ship traffic closer to its coast, where it can exercise physical control, to charge a toll. And to counter this, the United States deployed the Lamprey system, or the leeches. They are autonomous underwater drones that live on the ocean floor, silently detecting and neutralizing mines integrated into a network of aerial sensors. The Lamprey operates as an underwater extension of artificial intelligence. It remains dormant on the seabed until it is activated by acoustic signals or the detection of magnetic anomalies. When Iran deliberately lets mines loose to create danger zones, the Lamprey maps them in real time. This technology removes the regime's extortion power, as they usually charge tolls of up to $2 million per ship. All this just to ensure safe passage through areas they themselves have mined. It's like throwing a nail on the road and then offering to change your tire. The Lamprey system detects underwater mines autonomously and discreetly. De forma autônoma. It takes away Iran's main weapon of economic blackmail. Without the threat of mines, the Iranian Navy loses its ability to dictate the flow through the strait. The mafia-style toll collected on islands like Lavan becomes impossible to sustain when the international community has technical proof that the waters are clear. The security of Hormuz is no longer a concession from Tehran and becomes a technological guarantee from Washington. The energy security of Japan, South Korea, and Europe depends on this underwater clearance. The Lamprey is the guarantee that the energy supply will not be interrupted by state piracy tactics. Its technology ensuring that the global economic flow is not held hostage by an armed theocracy. And with control of the sky and the seabed, the diplomatic siege tightens. But would Iran really accept the peace of the Abraham Accords? Because Trump made a bold proposal to include Iran in the accords, including an agreement with Israel, requiring the simultaneous participation of 8 regional powers, including Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. The 14-point memorandum demands the complete end of the nuclear program, the surrender of the uranium stockpile, and the unrestricted opening of the Strait of Hormuz. Marco Rubio, speaking in New Adelia, emphasized that diplomacy will have every chance, but the red lines are non-negotiable. Iran's interest in negotiating does not come from a change of heart, but from a need for the regime's survival. The naval blockade has already redirected and disabled more than 100 commercial ships, suffocating Tehran's economy. The 60-day ceasefire window is seen by many analysts as a maneuver to rebuild bunkers and hideouts in the mountains, and the United States knows this. And that's why it keeps two carrier groups in immediate attack position. Trump proposes the Abraham Accords to Iran, which is practically impossible. That means a diplomatic surrender disguised as regional integration. If Iran accepts, it loses its revolutionary identity and its nuclear project. If it refuses, it faces the physical destruction of its military infrastructure. There is no middle ground. The 14-point memorandum is the final ultimatum for the country to choose between becoming a normal nation or a permanent target. Peace in the Middle East under the Abraham Accords would definitively isolate terrorist movements that depend on Iranian funding. It's a complete redrawing of the power map. But while the world looks to the Gulf, Memorial Day in the United States reminds us of the real cost of this vigilance. The sacrifice of the KC-135 crew in Operation Epic Fury, led by Major John Clion, that's what allows Rubio to speak with authority in New Delhi. Peace with Russia is only possible because firepower is present and ready to be used. The plan seems perfect to stabilize the region, but Beijing is taking advantage of the focus on Hormuz to make a risky move. My friends, the situation is so tense that TV cameras can't capture it. If you want to understand what really happens behind the scenes of power, come to our intelligence bunker. We are already more than 3,000 analysts on a censorship-free platform where we decode the truth in Ikrua with more depth and without the fear of being taken off the air by a stroke of a pen. QR code on the screen, link in the description and in the first pinned comment. And for those looking for quality entertainment, check out our series and movies channel. And if you're looking for cool series and movies to enjoy with your family on the weekend, we created our series and movies channel. The link is in the description, in the pinned comment, and in the card on screen now, without woke stuff, without whining, with the best movies and series for you to enjoy. Now subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, leave a like on the video, blend your mind. I'm Shimon Oliveira and I'll see you next time. See you then.